Welcome everyone. Welcome to Monday night. Soul Focus, Expanding Reality, and my very special guest, Katerina Lenarcic. How are you going, Katerina? Sorry.
I'm well, thanks, Brooke. I'm good, thanks. You always get that wrong.
I know, it's all right. I can say it, but as soon as I got to read it, it's like fall apart.
Yeah, it's Katerina.
Katerina.
No, I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Yeah,
Great.
stinking hot day in Adelaide. Yeah.
Yeah, it was hot today, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was. I was going to go for a ride, and then I went outside toward the garden. Not going to happen. Too hot.
No, too hot.
Okay, Katerina, tell us about yourself. Tell our viewers what you do.
Yeah, well, hi everybody. I'm Katerina, and I am the founder and owner of Be Your True Self, and I'm really all about connecting you.
Okay. Have you frozen, or is she still going, or is it just my end? One sec. Okay, just slight technical difficulty there. Yep, Katerina froze. She'll be back in a second. We sometimes have these technical difficulties. Until then, you have got me. I'm sure she'll be back. It's a live show, so she'll just get back on, and we'll keep the ball rolling. How is everyone today? G'day, Darlene, and g'day, Heart Sam. How you guys going? Marie, hello. How you going? Caroline, how you going? Okay, I'll just see what's happening. Not to worry. We've had the energies and everything around the last few days. Computers have been going weird. Yep, I'll just click on the same link. And we'll see what happens. Okay, could be the internet at her house. That's no good. Because I think it's because the full moon soon. When is the full moon? I got a book down with all the full moons right beside me, but I can't look. Sorry about this, guys. I'm sure she got back on. Yeah. Yeah, she's back on. Okay, just waiting for her to come back into the studio. That's okay. Yeah, well, here we go. Sorry about that. I mean, not that I can help it. It's the internet.
Who knows what happened then, Brooke? Because
we can blame
the energies for that.
Yep. Or pick a guest that we don't like, or pick someone watching that we don't like. But we like everyone, so we can't pick any of this.
Well, yeah, it has been known that my energetics frequency is a tad too high for technology, and that does happen, right? Anyway, let's start again, shall we?
Yes. So tell us about yourself.
Okay.
Katerina.
I'm Katerina, and I live in Adelaide, and I am the owner of Be Your True Self. And the whole idea of Be Your True Self is to give people a safe place where they can discover who they are at a much deeper emotional and mental state, and also their energetics, their spiritual guidance, who's outside of them and who's helping them. I connect people to their higher selves so they can achieve a better understanding, so they can, create a really good life on an everyday level without feeling that they're victimized, or without feeling that they can't do anything, right? Because the world's a bit chaotic, right?
Indeed.
So I have many tools under my belt. I am a life coach, a spiritual healer, Reiki master, light language specialist. So I'm able to speak light language, interpret and write it. So my clients receive all that help from me to understand who they are in this life. I'm able to go into past lives and future lives, and I retrieve information from your higher self to help you move forward into a better understanding in this life. Right? That's what I do.
So when we get a session from you, our higher selves give you all the dirt, do they?
Yeah, it's like you come into my house, right? Because we like your energetic space is like your house. So you come into my house and you sit in my kitchen, and we have a cup of coffee with your team and my team, your spiritual guidance and my spiritual guidance. And your higher self, the one that wishes to come forward and speak to me, will give me information that I will need to help you understand why, to help you, answer your questions or understand where you are at any given moment. And yes, they give me the dirt. they give me the little ins and outs of why and hows and all those types of things. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because like when we listen to our higher selves, we sort of we glaze over the things that we don't want to hear. We're like, no, that's just me in my head, and we ignore them. They must get quite frustrating for them some days.
Yes, well, it's a bit like that because your higher self is there to guide you intuitively. So your intuitive nature is the connection that you have with your higher self. I take it a little further, where I consciously connect you through automatic writing or telepathy or any of those skills to actually have a conversation with the higher self, so you can sit quietly and do it yourself. And that's what my purpose is, to help you do that. Yes, I have very interesting conversations with the higher self. Yes. But the idea is really your higher self wants you to be the best version you can be in this lifetime. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then we look around and then we start beating ourselves up, don't we?
Yeah. And we do that too much, don't we? Too often.
Yeah.
And so the higher self, everyone has the ability to come through to connect with the higher self, so you can understand why you beat yourself up, but you have to be really honest with yourself, right? Because your higher self is honesty, integrity, authenticity, right? And yes, sometimes we may not want to listen, but eventually you will listen, because you will want to stop having the rougher, the more challenging times. When you're having a challenging time, it's because you're not listening. So your higher self, so your higher self just sits and goes, okay, we'll just wait till you're ready to calm down and we can have a conversation. And that's how.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you're feeling uptight or frustrated or angry, you're not going to listen to anyone, are you? Especially yourself.
No. No. We just want to go back into our comfort zones and go, I need to chill, which is usually what happens with me.
Well, it happens with most people, right? And I do it sometimes too. But I have a team which I call Blue Diamond Team, and they consist of Archangel Gabriel, my galactic family, and the agreement between me and them is that they'll kick me up the ass or pull the rug from under my feet, or help me to stop yelling and screaming if I need to, and just to understand what's going on. So I have a very intimate relationship with my spirit guidance, and I'm here to help you to have the same thing, because you're all able to.
Right? So tell us, can you tell people basically what their higher self is?
Well, the higher self is that all-knowing you, that part of you that has already had a successful life in another time and place. Because when you're born, you only come in with one of your versions, right? The other 11 get scattered out into the multiverse, and you're having and simultaneously you're having lives together. So whatever you're doing right now is affecting another life that you're having somewhere else.
Okay.
Because it's the now, right? It's everything is happening now. So the higher self is that part of you who is straight to the point, authentic, and who knows more about you than you know at any given moment. So the higher source
Yep.
could be your connection to source,
Yep.
however you want to believe the universe to be. Your higher self is your intuition. Your higher self uses your intuition, your natural intuitive state to speak to you. So yeah, so the higher self is that part of you that has all this wonderful information, the Akashic records, universal textbooks, all about yourself that you have already agreed to bring into this life. So you have people like me who
Yep.
give you a safe place to connect and learn more about yourself so you can integrate it and download it into this life. So you can get past the naysayers or the difficulties or the human life of challenges and the human life of not feeling worthy of something. I mean, I've spent 30 years working on my worthiness, right? And you still
Yep.
do. You always are. So your higher self is the beautiful self that just wants to see you shine brightly and be the best version that you can be in this life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be.
Well,
Sometimes I look in the
let,
mirror and think, it's not going to happen this lifetime.
but let me tell you, right? We've been so conditioned and programmed to believe that we are not worthy of who we really are. So I feel that the world has created an ego, which then stops you from seeing your grandest light. Okay, which I call
Yep.
the high self or even your cosmic self. There's so many layers, Brooke,
Yep.
that it's a journey of self, and everybody is individually on their own journey. So my experience will be different to your experience, that sort of thing. And once you connect with your high self, like I have, and I started at 29 years old consciously,
Yep.
and I was mentored and trained for 12 years in self-isolation, how to understand the energy around me, but really how to understand Katerina. How do I work in the world? How do I feel in the world? What kind of decisions have I made? Oh my God, I might have to change that decision, all those things. So it looks at your emotional and mental state. And the one thing that's really important to remember is that you can be spiritually aware of a lot of things. And Brooke, you are, and you are all very spiritually aware. It's just that you've got to get out of your own. You got to get out of your own way as a human being and understand that you are worthy of, first of all, being on the planet and being the light that you've come here to be. And tapping into your higher self is just like making friends of just making friends with someone who can help you move forward, right?
Yep.
I'm just a physical version of that. Because that's how I was mentored, right?
Yep.
So my journey started when I was 14 years old, when I suddenly woke up and realized, oh my God, where am I and why am I here and all this type of stuff. But 14 years old, you're quite naive or you don't really understand. But it wasn't until I was 29 years old that by the time I was 29 years old, I went through a really dark night of the soul, the shadows and the darkness and all those things. And I was making I was just tired of the dysfunction of my own life and the people in my life. So I basically
is that at 14?
No, at 29 years old.
I was going to say 14. That would be normal teenager,
I know,
wouldn't it?
right? I know. At 14, that's when I say I woke up, like spiritually woke up, knowing that I had a purpose here in this life. That's what I mean at 14. And you can find my story in this book called Collaboration. I'm a co-author of this book from Christy Hill House Publishing, and my chapter is all about waking up at 14 years old and my journey with that. So at 29 years old, I became so fed up with the world that the only way I thought would bring me some peace was to really end my life, right? Because I got so tired, and, anxiety, all those things. And so then my spiritual mentor, Navarro, came, that he found me. He found me through another medium, and she taught me how to be still, how to be quiet, and how to just listen to me, Katerina. So in 1 year, we did the journaling, and I would come home, sit in this room, with my journal and just trust the information I was getting. And then Navarro taught me how to, at the same time, he taught me how to communicate with other energies like galactics or angelics or those that passed over, all those. He helped me to amplify my natural abilities of knowing, right? And you all have that ability of knowing, right? It's all about trusting it, and it's all about understanding that you can have 500 people around you, or not 500, you can have 5 people around you saying no, no, no. But if you feel in your heart without any doubt that it's right, then it's learning how to say no, this is how I feel and this is how I'm going to do it, and not be triggered or challenged by the outside world, right?
Yep.
And that's the journey, right, Brooke? That's the journey.
Otherwise, we just start second guessing ourselves, and it becomes ridiculous.
Yeah, and it becomes depressive, and it becomes heavy, and it becomes to the point where you just don't want to do anything anymore. And that all those things are real, right?
Yep.
In our world, it's called depression or anxiety or mental health, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing that I found during my journey is that when I was feeling all those things, now I didn't go to the doctor and get medication, and I didn't get labeled, because I knew in my heart there was nothing wrong with me.
Yep.
Right. And that was between 14 and 29 years old. Right. So that's where I learned that's where the universe taught me how to deal with the shadows, the darkness, the devils, the horrible things of life, how to deal with that.
Can you expand on that? Because there's probably some people that are watching that don't know much about that. Because, I mean, a lot of people get, shadow work, shadow self, and they hear those terms all the time. And
yeah, the shadow work. Shadow work is understanding that you are light and dark. Okay, the shadow is that part of you that you don't pay attention to, that you neglect, that is too hard, that is too difficult. The shadow is where you, for example, you have an issue, all right, a challenge of some sort, and you put it under the carpet. That becomes a shadow, right, in your house.
Yep.
Because remember, you are your physical house. So what happens is, over the years, all these things that you've put under the carpet, not dealing with, trauma, anything of that sort, starts to build up. And then during the global awakening, how everybody's waking up, what you're all doing is, every time you wake up to something about yourself that needs your attention to your shadow, what you're doing is you're unraveling something off the planet, and everybody who's doing the work is being encouraged to go even further deeper with themselves, and that's the shadow work. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So how can people at home start doing their own shadow work?
Well, how do you do that? Well, first of all, you got to start believing that you're worthy of that you are worthy of the life that you are having right now.
Yep.
Regardless of what that may look like, because I'm encouraging you to all know that you have chosen the life you have right now. So the shadow work of that is sitting quietly, meditating, sitting quietly, journaling how you feel, looking at the most difficult things in your life and asking the questions of how can I move forward with understanding and make peace with it? Forgiveness, self-forgiveness. Throughout my journey, I've had to venture into my childhood past, my teenage years, all those times during my dark times. The shadow is just simply the part of you that you find too difficult to confront. Okay. And now what happens is externally, where you see the world that we live in, there is another energy which I call the dark forces, which is very real at the same time. But what's happening is they made you believe that the shadow was the evil, right? The evil part, the no good part. So that's why humanity didn't pay much attention, because you only have to see our movies and things like that, right? Yeah.
Indeed.
So I am here to show my clients that they can become friends with their ego, because it's the negative ego, which is the shadow, that needs to be transformed and changed into a higher understanding. That's what that means.
Yep.
And it's not easy. It's challenging. It'll make you cry. It'll make you yell at the universe. It'll make you feel like shit, because you're healing yourself of things that didn't work.
Yeah, all those bad choices, all those regrets.
Yeah, we have to learn to let them go. That's right. However, when you start to look into the energetics of it all, nothing is wrong. Okay? You're not on the wrong path. So even if when I talk about the shadow and what it relates to, the shadow is part of your life, your human life, that wants to come into the light, because you can't go into 5D or a higher light without taking all of you. When you agree, Brooke, you have to learn to understand all of yourself, and that takes time.
So how do people start dealing? You said with the journaling and all that.
Yeah, with the journaling, you learn. You find a quiet moment. You can start off with 10 minutes every day, because this is what I encourage my clients to do. Start off at 10 minutes a day. You just sit quietly and you don't say anything. And you will start to feel the chatter coming through. You'll start to feel the negative ego saying, what are you doing? What are you quiet for? Come on. You got to do this, you got to do that, right? The idea is to stay very still and very quiet. And with your journaling, you write down how you feel. I feel angry because no one's listening to me. You're acknowledging how you're feeling. You're honoring yourself by acknowledging that all those things about yourself too. And eventually, okay, because it takes work. Like, I spent 12 years being quiet every day. And what that taught me was how to distinguish between my energy and versus outside energy, angelic or galactic. So how does somebody do that? By listening to meditation, by talking to somebody that that won't judge you, and where you can just express how you feel. Remember, when we express how we feel, we don't want other people to feel heavy or that it's their fault, right? You're wanting to acknowledge how you're feeling, right? reach out to other coaches, reach out to me, reach out to people that can help you, because we all got to help ourselves, right? We can't do this on our own. Maybe at a certain point, maybe at certain times you need to do it on your own. What do? I take my chair and sit under my tree in my backyard, and I just sit there quietly. And then I've been taught how to talk to my universe, my energy. So I would talk to them as if I'm talking to you, Brooke, having a really deep conversation. I don't filter my words. I don't filter how I've been taught not to filter my words, not to adjust myself, because the universe can feel you regardless of what you're doing humanly, right?
Yep.
And so that's how I learned how to trust my intuition as well, by just listening to nature, the trees, that sort of thing. The shadow just simply wants to be acknowledged and be part of your existence. It's the negative ego, or the dark forces, as I call it, that don't want you to shine your light. And what I do is I help people to understand the difference.
Yeah.
Right? And how do I do that, Brooke? By you sitting with me, and I just hold space for you, and you unravel whatever you need to express at that given session, and I just let you do it.
Yep.
And then at the end of it, you'll have your aha moment, because I will just keep you focused on what you're doing, and not have you tangibly go off track, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes sense. But I mean, like, it's so hard, because people think, well, like, they think that we have to, we're so preoccupied, or we're trained, or we're told, or we're programmed that we need to be perfect. And it's like, oh yeah, I'll be good when I'm perfect, but we're never there.
No, because the reason why we're never there is because we're not perfect as human beings. We weren't made to be perfect. It's the structure and the programming of the work, of the outside influence that made us believe that we had to be perfect. Now, being a Virgo, I have this little perfection little girl in me, right? We all have that, right?
Hey, don't knock the Virgos.
Sorry?
I said, don't knock the Virgos.
Oh, I'm a Virgo.
Oh, me too.
I'm just using the Virgo as an example, right? We tend to have our little perfectionist somewhere, right?
Yep.
So I had to teach myself how to not be hard on myself if something didn't manifest or work out the way I thought it would. Because when we sit quietly and ask the universe for whatever it is, we have to understand that by the time it filters through into our physical world, it has to go through our emotional, our mental, our physical bodies, right? Because we have that aura around us, as everybody understands it, right? I call it the energetic house. And then in between the universe and your house, you have what I call the airport, and that in itself has its own complications and layers and all that sort of stuff. So I help you to understand that part of you, because the airport of you is what you allow in your house or in your aura, if that makes sense. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that in your book?
Well, what's in my book? Okay, so collaboration is really all about my story of how I woke up at 14 years old. And then there is also a chapter, there's also a section where Archangel Gabriel writes his section about the world. It's called Why Is It Important Now That We Connect with Our Higher Selves and Our Galactic Universal Communities? So I channeled the information, and he actually wrote that part of the chapter.
Yep.
So he wrote that. Now, for me to put that in a book took me 2 days of going through am I worthy enough to write that? Because it's not me.
Yeah.
Right. You're talking Angelic wrote it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I had to look at my worthiness. Is somebody going to read it? What are they going to think? Are they going to think I'm mad? All those things. So I had to spend a day or two with Gabriel to really understand how worthy I was to bring that through and let the world read it, right? And then, so from there, I got invited to write in this book, Intuitive Living, and this is all about my story of how I sat with Navarro and was still, was quiet, my journaling, how I listened to my intuition, how that changed my life, how I got to speak to other beings of light, other life forms and stuff like that. Once again, that took a lot of deep searching, a lot of looking at myself, because I'm actually sharing parts of me that took 30 years of developing, right? So I had to really believe that I was worthy enough for someone to read it, because yeah. So so that's what I did.
Yeah, well, it's hard because you just read it again and you're like, oh, does it sound silly? Or then you go inside your head again and the ego tries to protect you, and then you're double guessing yourself all the time.
Yeah, well, it's a journey for sure, right? But I recommend it. I recommend it.
I'll have to get the other book. I read the other book before. Can you tell us about was it the lady in the rocking chair that you saw when you were young?
Oh yes, this was in collaboration. Oh, you remember that part, right? Well, okay. All right. So I was 16 years old, and may I read that part from the book?
Yeah.
Maybe that can help, right? Okay.
Got to expand on it afterwards, so I'm not letting you get out of it that easy.
No. Okay, so at 16 years old, I was aware of how empathic I was to those around me and the energies around me. I would be given glimpses of the invisible world to just let me know how real it is. Now, your universe does that to you every day, right? To everybody. Gives you little glimpses that, is there such thing as a ghost? Oh, yeah, you'll bump into one just to show you that there really is a ghost, for example, right? So I remember one night I was laying in bed feeling afraid, and I curled up within myself, and I suddenly heard a voice of a beautiful, gentle lady who was sitting in a rocking chair in a ghostly way next to my bed and was watching over me. Now, if you could just imagine me being 16 years old, packing shit. Because your physical body just freezes up, right? Because suddenly in a rocking chair is this gentle old lady just sitting there looking at me, but however, at the same time I felt calm. At the same time I knew I was not in any trouble, and that's your intuition, right?
Yep.
So if anything happens to you in any way, if you are calm, if you feel no doubt, then it's okay, it's good, right? When it's doubtful or when you feel that you're going to get hurt, that's when you've got to start questioning it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but unbeknownst to me, right, it worked out that she was my higher self. So she was kind of like my future self from another life or a past life or something like that. But she was me. Okay. She was that part of me that was gentle, that was loving, that was happy with her life, all those things, right? And then she said to me, what is it that you want? And I said, and so I breathed in, right? And I said, intuitively, I said, to always have a job that will give me the money to be independent, to be loved for who I am, and to work with spirit. Because you see, I knew my life's purpose was to help people understand their spirit, to help them understand how connected they are to their universe. Right? So I gave her those three things, and by the time how old? 2016. What does 57? So that what does that make me? 50? Somewhere around there, right?
Yep.
I'm not very good at maths. But anyway, by that time, I worked with spirit. I changed my life. I changed suburbs after suburbs. I changed people, got rid of a lot of people that weren't good for me, had a lot of tears, a lot of anger, a lot of pain and all those things. I left Sydney, moved to Adelaide, and the universe brought me my husband. And I've been together 20 years now or more. So I can really say, looking back and writing my chapters and all this and reflecting back, that I have actually fulfilled the purpose that I wanted at 16 years old. So I always had a job to pay the bills, to even if I didn't have a lot of money, and even if I only ate jam and bread, during my 20s or something, I always had somewhere to sleep, always had people to help me, always had the money, and then I always wanted to be loved, right? Don't we all want to be loved? So I wanted to be loved by a genuine man, right? So, but I spent my 20s having, well,
20s.
Really dark stuff. Yeah, that's the 20s, right? So, my husband is an example of the result of that manifestation of that. And he's up-leveling and he's making sure that he's giving me the space to do my work, which is I'm very grateful for, right? The main part of it all, my main life purpose was to get where I am today, to fulfill the purpose of helping another person understand that you can do anything you want in your life that can bring you a level of understanding of how you can achieve the greatest version of you.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm fulfilling that purpose. It's great, right? But I do want to remind everybody that even though I had the best time, and even though I saw angels and I've had visions that, oh gosh, I can't even explain. I also saw the darker side. I saw demons. I had a very,
Can you tell us about some of those?
Time.
Can you tell about how some of those in that time frame affected you?
Okay, so I was always emotional, because deep down inside of me, I knew that I had to get somewhere, but my world couldn't give me what I needed at any particular moment, right? So I had to really push through abuse, for example, from verbal abuse from other people, attracting the wrong type of men in my life. This is all happening in my 20s, right? Between 14 and 29. I would seem very emotional because there were many times where I'd walk into a room and the room is full of ghosts. The room is full of entities or beings, or however you want to call them, those that have passed over, right? And I just knew that there was nothing wrong with me, but I lived in a world where you were labeled as if there was something wrong with you. That's why I never went to the doctors or did anything like that, right? There were moments where I basically didn't feel worthy because I was just getting kicked at every angle all the time. You can't do this, you can't go there, you can't have this, you can't have money, you can't, all this type of stuff, right? So I was always battling with wanting to achieve better in my life. So I always looked into and felt into my intuition, Brooke. My intuition ended up being my guidance. Like during those dark times, I'd be in the car. Like in my day, we didn't have boost buses or not anything of those things, right? and if I was in a situation where I was going to, hurt myself, I would turn around and there's a energy being sitting in the front seat that took control of my car so I wouldn't get hurt.
Yep.
Because because I wasn't aligned to my purpose, I felt emotional. I felt like everything was too hard. I felt like I wasn't worthy of anything. And because I was feeling all these things, I was attracting the people. The people were coming in to show me how real and true that is. So that's how I got to learn about the shadow, you see. And at 25 years old, I had a car accident, and I during that car accident, gosh, Brooke, I should have died, because next thing I saw the death, the Grand Reaper, as we call him, walking towards me. And then suddenly this great light appeared in front of me, and I heard, "Not yet." And then Grand Reaper just turned around and just walked away, right? Because that's universal law. They don't, they just walk away, right?
Yeah, you probably think,
And so that started my journey down into the darker rabbit holes, as I call them. So I had a vision one night where, and the story's in this book too, where I was standing in front of a cave, and what I know now to be Archangel Gabriel standing there saying, "You need to go in this cave." And I said, "Oh, it's a little dark in there. I don't know if I want to go in there." And he said, "Once you go in there and once you learn to switch the light on within yourself, then nothing can ever take that away from you, and you'll become the master of your own light." So I volunteered, right? I volunteered.
Yeah.
I went into that cave, and from the age of 25 to 37, I went on a journey of learning how to trust myself, basically, in the dark, how to walk and see in the dark. That also entailed learning how to see demons and not freak out, learn how to remove them, and learn how to remove them from the energetic space.
Yep.
I went into a lot of dimensions to learn how to get rid of the dark, the demons, the dark beings, however you want to call them, right?
Did you learn that just with your guides?
Yeah, that's just by having the really bad experience physically.
Okay.
Right? The emotional part of me. Yep. So during the day, it'll be very emotional because I was worried about money, or I was worried about something and it was not happening, lots of anxiety and all those things. And then I would go to sleep. Next thing I know, I'm woken up in a different time and place. Next thing, I'm wielding a knife, and I just seem to know how to deal with it.
Yeah. Oh.
There's a lot of things that you can't write on a piece of paper, it's just too difficult. However,
yeah, it's a lot of stuff to process. But we all have these. It all happens for a reason, I guess. To help train us.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I volunteered to go into the cave because I was asked, right? And then when I was writing my story in collaboration, Gabriel helped me to understand that the reason I went into that darkness was not to make a home of it, not to live in, not to feel unworthy, but feel worthy enough to be able to go in there and learn how to defeat my own darkness, or the negative ego, and learn to love myself, to say no or yes, or this is what I want, right? Because that's what it's all about. So I am now best friends with my ego or my shadow. And he actually takes me on little adventures to go and retrieve more of my self-worth, which is I call the treasures, right? Yeah. I'm not afraid to jump down the rabbit holes.
Yep.
I'm not afraid to look into the eyes of the cabal.
So it gets
and
easier?
they're scary. It gets easier, yes, Brooke. It gets
Yep.
easier because I work on it every day. Like I help my clients, right? So the 2 hours you get from me could be a week's worth of energy work that I have to do so I can give you the information, right?
Yep.
Because I'm also confronting your demons as such, right? However, saying all this, really at the end of the day, what I have learned over the years is that my guidance, my spiritual team, my Blue Diamond team, my beloved Archangel Gabriel taught me how to love me, Katerina, how to understand me and why I behave this way and why I think that way, and how worthy I am to write in 2 books, how worthy I am to have a successful marriage and a successful business. You know, they teach me how to love myself enough not to take shit from anybody.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, right? And the other thing that they taught me was how to be a human being without fear. Because if you can be a human being without fear, the dark forces, the cabal can't touch you. Because your energy...
People don't realise. Just with their compliance and going, oh, it's too hard, I'll just do it, it's easier to do it. They don't realise that they're actually just acting in fear. It's just standing in their power. And it just, I guess it just chisels away at us without us even knowing sometimes.
Well, we don't know. That's my whole point, right? I didn't know until... I didn't know a lot of things about myself until I had to sit down and write that chapter, because it's 3,000 words, right? So that was a rabbit hole for me. So I had to go and visit my 14-year-old self again. And that was tearful. That was challenging, you know, because I had to forgive myself at that age, for example.
Yep.
And I had to go back to my 16-year-old self. But at the same time, the magnificence of it was I realized why I was doing certain things during that time as well, without even knowing I was doing it. So it's not until you have to look back on your footsteps or write a story or understanding your life that you realize how far you've come.
Yep.
And how beautiful you are and how strong you are and how courageous you are. It's not until you have to really sit down and think about it and look back. So I help my clients with all that stuff as well.
Yep. Well, it's dirty work, but someone's got to do it. I mean, does it take its toll on you doing all that work?
I have learned how to listen to "You must rest today."
Yep.
Right. I have learned to, when Gabriel says to me, "You're not doing anything today, just do whatever you want. No channeling, you're not talking to me until you rest." Because I've learned that if we don't honor our human self, our bodies, our emotional state, our mental state, what we do is we actually create more holes in our energetic space, which brings in the vampires and the darkness that which takes a hold on you. So you become tired and emotional. You become, do you know what I mean? Understand?
Yeah,
you get really tired. Yeah, you're unbalanced. That's right. So in the last 8 months, January, you know, I had COVID, took 2,000. So for 30 days, my universe had me not do anything, rest, sleep, not even eat a lot. You know, I was sick and everything. And Gabriel said to me, if I had asked you not to do any channeling, not to do any work with clients, just to sit down and rest, not even look at the computer. Don't eat a lot. Only drink water. All these things. Would you have done it? And I said, probably not, because I'm a being of service. I like to help people all the time, right? I like to, if I'm not doing something, I feel like I'm not contributing in some way. So that's another part of my journey of my 30 years. I had to learn that even though I was sitting down, being still and quiet, I'm actually contributing a lot more than I know. Right. So I've learned over the years that if I didn't listen to my team or my intuition, Katerina, would physically get me sick. So I would stay in bed for a week.
Yep.
And that's what we do, right?
I guess I know better. So is it our ego that's telling us to do everything all the time?
Yeah, it's the ego.
I guess it's it's like, because I sit down and I sometimes I'll sit down and go, I'm just going to watch a movie. Unless I do it right at the end of the night when I'm just about ready to go to bed anyway. It must be my ego telling me, you could be doing something else right now. You could be doing something else right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I'm not being productive, I just think it's all a waste of time. I have to force myself to take time off some days.
Yeah, well, I totally understand what that means, right? But it took a lot of years for me to understand that if I don't rest and take care of myself emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever it is, then I'm not able to give, my clients, humanity, 110%, because I'll be too tired. And I've also learned that if I was getting too tired, then I'm putting holes in my energetic field and allowing the cabal to put through their what I call their octopus legs so they can siphon my energy. Well, I've stopped that. Right.
Yep.
And so January 2022 was the ultimate test for me. So I slept for nearly 30 days. I was in a lot of pain, of course, with COVID and everything, and I had lots of experiences. Even the false light or the cabal tried to make me believe that I had issues, and which I'd already dealt with, because that's what they do.
Yep.
And I would just, even though I was feeling tired and sick, I would sit up in my bed in the middle of the night and go, I know what you're doing, just so F off, will you? I'm trying to heal myself. I am worthy of myself. So if you tell the universe how worthy you are and how magnificent and how good you are in your job or the way you think or the way you feel, it is universal. The energies will listen to that, and even the darkness will say, okay, we're going now, right?
Yeah, let's find someone weaker. Too much effort on that one.
Yeah, because, oh, no, she's no good. Right? So, yeah, it's very important. So I'm an advocate for, if your intuition says rest today, you need to rest.
I guess
sorry.
Yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense. It's like if they're gonna come and feed on your energy, I mean, you walk up to the tree and you find something, the best apple you can find within arm's reach. You're not going to go, oh, there's one right up the top there that looks good, and suddenly get out the ladder just to get one apple, are you?
No.
That's too much work.
No, so it's in front of you, right? Everything is basically in front of us, but we've got so many layers of conditioning, programming, and all that to maneuver and get rid of. Your ego, your dark and light work together to remove the programming, all those things.
Yep.
Yeah, there's there's another conversation, different time, for even for that.
There is. So what do you actually offer? Can you tell people about what you offer in your services?
Okay, so what I offer is, I offer a session of coaching and mentoring with your spiritual, emotional, and mental state. So what I offer is, I hold space for you. I connect with your spiritual team. Usually there's 3, your higher self and 2 others, and we start to have a conversation with you about what's going on at that moment. So it's not transcript in any way.
Yep.
Right. However, before you do come to me, what I always ask is that you just jot down a couple of things that you would like to talk about. You know, you are coming to me because there is a problem of sorts.
Yep.
Right.
So what's
Even if you're and even if you're a psychic, coach, healer, any of, you know, even if you're in that industry, you could come to me, say, okay, I've been talking to this energy, I'm not quite sure who I'm speaking with. Well, I will clear the path for you to connect and know who you're talking to, because I'm able to talk to that energy and let you know where it's from, you know, all those things, right? So you can connect. So that's my coaching, mentoring. I also have the crystal light bed healing, which you can see behind me, and that is really what that does is it works on your energetic field. So I'm a Reiki master as well. So part of my team, I have Saint Augusta, you know, I think he's a 9th century healer with his team, and you know, King Solomon, Mary Magdalene, you know, those types of icons. And also I have Dr. Yusui, who's the Reiki master who wanted to work with me. So he's part of that energy. And I also have Archangel Gabriel and a team of angelics. And what happens is the lights, as you can see flashing behind you, has a frequency to them. So you can put them up really high or low, or depending on your own energetic field. And it stimulates your immune system. It lifts your energy vibration to assist your overall mental, physical, and emotional and spiritual well-being. It cleanses your chakra system. So I ask Saint Germain, the violet flame, to come in, and it comes through. He pours it through your crown, and it goes down through your chakra system down to your feet. And if you could imagine, you've got like a bucket, like an energetic bucket at the end of the bed, and black goo is removed from your chakra system, which is lower vibration, you know, things that don't work, you know, or just a cleansings. So that happens as well. It opens up your chakra system, and it unblocks you. So you know, my clients could have a past life that you could have a past life that you had not get rid of, or you've attached yourself to, and it's not required in this life. So my team, with your team, of course, will remove that energy from your space. What you do is you lay on the bed, as you can see, and then I have a little prayer or a meditation of sorts, and I get you to breathe, and I get you to relax your body, and I clear the space, and I have 8 angelics around my house, so nothing of a lower vibration can come into this house anyway. What they also do is Saint Augusta and his team do psychic surgery, so they'll remove dark entities from your space, and you'll be in awe of how much of that we have in our space that we don't see or feel. But it improves self-confidence. It improves your sleep. I know my clients, when they leave me, they always have a really good night's sleep, and so do I, because I have to hold space as well. Each time you come and see me, your energy is being cleaned. You know, like your energy is being cleaned. You'll feel lighter and brighter. I know that when my clients get off the table and sit down, they even look younger, because your energy is clean, right? It makes you look young. The more sessions you do, the better it becomes, you know, because it's one session it's not a cure. But these things are to help you to understand yourself, how to heal yourself, and how to cope in your world. I'm not a doctor, psychiatrist, or any of those things. However, I've had clients who've said to me, "Oh no, I won't relax," and then they fall asleep. I've had clients snore on the bed, because I get you into a relaxive state. I've had clients tell me they've felt hands on them. I don't touch you, right? I actually leave the room. They might say to me, "Okay, you must go now." I went, "Okay." So I leave the room. However, I'm in my kitchen table, and because I hold space, Saint Augusto will show me some things that he wants me to know, so I can tell you when you get off the bed as well. Just a clarification and stuff.
It changes that brain state, that brainwave state. When you're
so
an hour would feel like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like today, I laid under there today because they get me to do it, and I was on there at 3:00. Next thing I know, I woke up at 4:00, and you don't even know what you don't know. And an hour is, you can't do more than an hour, I find. You can either do 40, you can do 30 minutes, 44, 45 minutes, or 1 hour. I have a session that is 1 hour under the lights and 30 minutes conversation with me. Because I hold space, right? So I work behind the scenes to ensure that this space is clean, and that we're well protected, and that I'm very connected, and that that I will do my part. I mean, I can do it on the internet, zoom.com. I do it FaceTime like that. I've had clients in America and Israel. I've got a gentleman in Israel who has been seeing me for more than 8 months, and he books it in, and what you do is you lay in your room with your Zoom on so you can hear me and I can see you. You lay down as if you're under the bed. We do the whole process. I make the room dark. You've got music. I go through the process of relaxing you. And through the Zoom or the remote healing, this is how they taught me how to get rid of the darker stuff from your energy. That's how they taught me. Because these tools are used for me to remove any demons you have in your space. And whether we agree or not, at some level in our space, there are lots of little mischievous stuff happening that we don't know about. Right? Yeah, that's that airport I talk about, right?
Yeah, well, we're walking around in it all day long, stuff attached to other people, and
so I bought this January 21, because time's gone so fast, right? 21, and I use it all the time, and I have many clients who have, and let me tell you, you feel so relaxed. You feel lighter. You feel like a burden has lifted, because you come in with intentions too, and it's the frequency of the lights, and I have music that Spirit has picked to go along with that. So there's sound, frequency, dark room, and all that.
It's. I mean, I've done I haven't done the light bed, but I've done a few other things that sort of go for the same sort of thing, like the sound meditation and all that. And it just people don't realize how much it recharges you.
I know, right?
And even if, the other week I went in and it felt like I was there for 10 minutes. I was there for an hour. And I thought my mind was full of chatter because I got thoughts coming in and coming out. But then 5 minutes later, it's just like, oh, are we done yet? But I felt great.
Yeah. Well, you do. You feel like everything feels brighter and lighter,
Yep.
What I suggest my clients do when they leave me is you make sure you drink lots of water, that you rest, because with any healing, things will come up, right? Healing, things will come up because you're eliminating them energetically, and it has to be worked through physically. But people are coming for it, coming to lay here, and in person or remotely. I do it for myself. I even helped my sister the other day, and she's been a real skeptic of mine, and she sent a message back saying, how fortunate I am to have my sister know what you can do to help me move forward with my life. So I have my tools. I can use light language as well. I can do light language healing as well, as some of you have seen. Yeah, have a whole range of things, Brooke.
Yeah. So people, all the links are in the show notes, people. So if you want to get hold of Katerina, it's all there. Katerina, if you could, when you first started waking up and going through yourself, if you could go back in time and tell yourself some stuff to make it easier, what would
I say?
Yeah.
I would say, listen, Katerina. Don't be stubborn and listen, even if it sounds different and not what you're used to. Listen. Right? Listening. What else would I say to myself? Get out of your own way, love. If you only knew what was coming, you would get out of your own way. But once again, it's that ego that wants to protect. And no, you can't do that, right? What else would I say? I would say, it's going to be okay, Katerina. It's going to be okay. You're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to have a solution. You're going to wake up tomorrow and understand that when you let go of something, something beautiful is going to come into your life. And all the shit and all the crap and all the challenging parts and all the yelling and all the screaming and all the crying and all the I give up conversations, I wouldn't change a thing, Brooke.
Yep.
Because it helped me to be authentic in my own expression. And that's what needs to happen.
It does. No, that was brilliant. Yeah. I was waiting for you to say, I wouldn't change a thing, because I was meant to go through it. I'm like, yeah, cop-out answer.
Well, I wouldn't change a thing, Brooke.
No.
Really, I wouldn't change a thing, because I know, I don't say that lightly. Seriously, I don't say that lightly. I'm just glad, I'm just very grateful that the worst of it, I've gone through the worst of it now. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I did it in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and now I'm 57, 56, 50, something like that. Now I have better opportunities. Huh?
Just say late 40s.
Yeah, late 40s.
Yeah, late 40s.
But yeah, no, I wouldn't change a thing, because I love who I am now.
Yep.
And I love my shadow, and I love my light, and I love my Blue Diamond team, and I love my Archangel Gabriel. Because you see, when the world didn't believe in me, they did. And nothing can take that away from me now.
Was there anything? Was there any advice? If you giving yourself more advice, was there something that you really struggled with because you had no idea? And it just took a lot longer to get through it?
Yeah. There's always, how do I answer that? It's, I don't know how to answer that, Brooke. Struggles. I've had lots of struggles, Dom.
Oh, yep.
Many, many of them. I remember, what would I say to that? I wouldn't even change my struggles. I know, some people go, well, what a load of shit, but I don't care what you think. I wouldn't change a thing, because I consciously speak to Archangel Gabriel. I with my own human eyes, I see him in front of me. I speak to galactic beings that most of the world is afraid of. I'm able to connect with my mother who passed away when I'm feeling a little upset.
Yep.
The struggle, I still have struggles. We all have struggles, right? But my struggles now, I have a better understanding about my struggles. So I go into my toolbox, right? And I go and pluck out, okay, how can I look at this today? So I remind myself of my little tools. Okay, feel worthy of this, Katerina, and everything will turn out better than you think. So what I do is I sit like this and I breathe in, and I imagine that I'm putting my whole wings around me and comforting myself and saying, you've got this, you're going to be okay, right? We all have struggles at some level, right? We all have them. And even today, like the last couple of days, Brooke, the heart chakra opened up, right? Oh my God, I spent 2 days crying, like literally physically crying, because we're all because I was grieving something.
Yep.
Because we're so multi-layered. We're so multi-layered that, what did Navro used to say to me? One day I said to him, when do I have to wait till I heal myself to help others? He goes, my darling, you would never help anybody if you had to wait. He said to me. We're so multi-layered. My struggles today feel they might last a day or two. Do you know what I mean? Instead of a week or a year. To get me?
Yep.
If I'm feeling anxious about something, I automatically spend time with Archangel Gabriel, because he's one of my tools, right?
Yeah.
So I've created tools to be able to focus on when I'm not having such a great day. At the same time, though, you got to celebrate your wins too, Brooke. You got to celebrate the fact that you've got such a good show, for example, and you're introducing a lot of people to everybody, right? You got to celebrate that. I'm celebrating my books. I'm celebrating my business, right? I'm celebrating the fact that I got through it. And I did it my way. I didn't, because mostly I did everything myself, right? I celebrate the fact that I can speak to Archangel Gabriel when I'm feeling upset about something, because I'm still human. I have my days like everybody else, just because I do this work, right? I have my days, but I have my tools. So my purpose is to help you find your tools so you can celebrate the bad and the good and the ugly and the beautiful,
And the tools help.
Yeah.
It used to be emotional breakdowns. Now I'm just dropping for an hour.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes it's like, sometimes I sit in my lounge room at nighttime, and I know that I'm being heard by my team or even by God, and I go, well, are you fucking happy? Are you happy? Like, I have these conversations, right?
Yep.
But however, now what happens is I'm a lot more calm, and I go, oh yeah, okay, I get it. All right, but let me have a cry. Okay, I'm human, because I got to remind my team, because most of my team have not been human. So I've got to remind them that I'm human, and that I'm going to get upset, or I'm going to be happy, whatever the emotion is. And if I want to sit here and vent at you, that's fine. And they're fine with that, right? They sit there and go, it'll take however long it takes for you to do. I went, okay, great.
That's easy.
But these days, but these days, I'm celebrating more wins than I ever had in my life. So that's exciting.
Well, that's good. It does, as you walk in your path and you get more attuned, you're closer to that wave that you should be riding, and then that's where all the good stuff is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It
right.
is easier. I mean, I find that.
It becomes easier.
Yeah, it comes easier, or you just get used to not. I guess it's you. A lot of it's you stop being afraid of the unknown, and you're just like, okay, well, that needs to be done. I've got to do it. It's not the end of the world. There'll be a resolution somewhere. You just get used to those sort of things happening, and I guess the fear starts to go away, and you're not so worried about everything.
Yeah, it becomes like second nature because you've tried out your new you've tried out a solution. It worked for you, so that's what I mean by a tool.
Yeah.
It works for you. So if something comes up that needs that tool, you're more confident in using and finding solutions and answers, right? The unknown. Well, I've come into unknown, right? 30 years of doing all that work, that's all behind me now. So I have a whole new energetic house. And at the moment, if you could just imagine, I'm sitting in my lounge room with this big lounge chair, and there's just this little me and my little chair. And I'm going, oh my God, I've got a new house. What am I going to do now? Right. So the unknown, there are moments where I said, I get a little, what am I going to do now? I don't know, because
decorate
for 30, I know, right? Because for 30 years, I was on this mission to get where I am today. And suddenly, I don't know what's ahead of me. So what the tools that I've been given now to do is to think about, so it's like, okay, I wake up in the morning and go, okay, what am I going to do today? And then I just sit quietly and let myself say, okay, let's do this today. Or I listen to my intuition. Suddenly I might get in the car and go and have a cup of coffee, because it might work out that I'm going to talk to somebody who's going to end up wanting to work with me. So I'm learning to live in the now. But that doesn't mean I don't worry about things. I just don't have that big struggle anymore.
I did that. It's amazing. And like their intuition, we don't realize how much they're trying to guide us. Like, I think the other day I was in the middle of doing something, wasn't that important, and it was dark, and the intuition said, go down the beach. I'm like, really? And then I went down the beach. I only like 5 minutes from the beach, so it wasn't that bad.
Oh,
and I got down the beach, and as soon as I walked down to the beach, I saw a fox just near the water, and then he looked at me and then ran off.
Okay.
Which I've never seen a fox down the beach. And then I looked it up when I got back on my phone, and it was a message. The universe was just trying to give me a message. Could have just told me. Nah, we could have, but you didn't listen last time, so we thought we'd show you instead.
They do have a sense of humor. The universe does have a sense of humor, and I've discovered that the angelics, well, my beloved Gabriel, he's taken my sarcasm and he uses it. Like I could be having a deep conversation with somebody, or even with you, and suddenly, because it got too serious or something, Gabriel might just get me to say one word and it just shifts the whole thing, and we're having a belly laugh, like literally crying, because it just made us laugh. Like, really, just saying something like, really, Brooke? Really?
Yep.
Really?
Just trying to.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
that's it. I'm never too serious.
No.
There's a time and a place for everything.
There is.
You got to have fun with everything.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, right? The universe always says to me, you take things too seriously, my girl. I went, yeah, I do.
I know, but it feels like we got so much work to do.
I know, right? I know. It's never ending. And like last couple of days, I've been sitting here going, oh, really? Okay. Just let me have a little bit more rest, because I'm coming to the end of my rest, if you know what I mean. Right, yeah. And they go a little bit longer, and then it's time. I went, okay. Ready to go.
Well, this was me a few weeks ago. The universe was like, okay, you got to go to bed. Time to go to bed. And I'm like, man, I got the last 2 episodes of Game of Thrones left. I'm like,
Oh yeah, oh yeah, right.
Yeah. I know. I watched it ages ago and I forgot about it, and then I just thought, oh wait a sec, I haven't seen it.
Was there something you needed to see while you were watching it?
Actually, I got a lot from it. Actually, the last series, I got a couple of downloads from it. A couple of really good. Yeah.
Yeah. What did I watched during my January when I couldn't do anything and just sit on the lounge chair? I watched. I binged Once Upon a Time. I don't know if you ever watched that. It's on
No.
Netflix. Once Upon a Time. It's all about the, Snow White and all those, but it has a story to it, So Gabriel goes, let's watch that again. I went, oh, okay. So we watched it, but he let me see it through his eyes, and there was the dark versus the light. It was by the time, right? So by the time I finished watching it, I could just suddenly see what they're really all about, the dark versus the light. Yeah. So I binged on that.
Yep.
And then I also binged on do you remember the show called Revenge? There was a show on telly. Yeah, I know. I binged on that, and that's what Gabriel does sometimes with me. He might say, let's watch this, and I went, oh, okay, why? And then suddenly I will see through his eyes, but he's trying to tell me something, right? He's trying to show me something or tell me something, and I'm going, oh, yeah, look at that. And then he would say to me, okay, what would you do with that? And then, okay, that's another rabbit hole, and we keep going, right? That's how he speaks to me. Right? So, we should listen.
So there's everyone's homework. Binge watch Once Upon a
Time. No, don't. No, I'm not. No, don't go doing that. But, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Thanks.
Everyone, Katerina's all her how to get hold of her is all in the show notes, all the links. So just go into the show notes and you can get hold of her webpage, website, Facebook, everything you need to. So if you want to get some work done, you want to contact with her, connect with her, and do it. So thank you so much for having us on the show. It was great. I learned heaps, and I'm sure our viewers did.
All right. Thanks so much. See ya.
Okay. See you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.